Good Monday evening, high school sports fans. Joe Gillaway with Lingelstown Gazette Sports live from the Orchard Street studio. And this is episode 41 of our weekly podcast, Gazette Sports Chat, where we'll get to know participants from various realms of the high school sports world, the student athletes who play the games, the coaches who coach them, and others connected in different ways to the entire experience. We'll introduce you to tonight's guests in just a moment as soon as we're done thanking those responsible for bringing you tonight's show, our Lingelstown Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors. And they are Rickabah's Electric, Payer Apparel, Ted's Bar and Grill, Freedom Financial Wealth Management, The Tire Mart, Team PA, AAU Basketball, Tonino's Pizza, American Legion Post 272, Hoffman Ford Capital Region Insurance Agency, Modern Imprint, Sam Hartley Decking, Crystal Bob at Iron Valley Real Estate, and Underdog Sports Bar and Grill. Thanks once again to these great local businesses for their continued support of Lingelstown Gazette Sports and our area's student athletes. Upcoming on Lingelstown Gazette Sports, we have Cedar Cliff at Central Dolphins softball this Wednesday night, one of two night home games for Central Dolphin this season, and it's senior night, and it's always very festive up there. It's a great time, loads of fans. So come up if you can make it live in person or watch our broadcast. I believe the game starts at 6:30, but we will advertise it more between now and Wednesday. So also we have kind of a non-sports podcast that just started. It's called This and That, the podcast. This Thursday we have Pennsylvania State Representative Russ Diamond joining us, and that should be very interesting too. So, okay, let's get into it. Tonight's Gazette Sports Chat is dedicated to the situation surrounding the recent dismissal of one of the most respected and successful coaches in the history of Central Pennsylvania girls high school basketball. This past Tuesday, without warning and without providing any sort of detailed explanation, Trinity High School President John Kaminsky notified the school's longtime girls basketball coach, Kristi Britten, that he was looking to take the program in a different direction, and was thus ending her 32-year involvement with the school's girls basketball program. What has been felt over the past 6 days as a result of this decision is sadness, anger, shock, confusion, and an outcry for Mr. Kaminsky to be more clear as to why he chose to take these extreme measures. Tonight we'll be joined by three guests who know Coach Britten well, one on a professional level as a coaching peer, and the other two whose lives have been positively impacted after spending time as student athletes in Coach Britten's girls basketball program at Trinity High School. We're going to talk first to Coach Randy Gambalungi, Coach G, longtime coach at Central Dolphin, not as long as Coach Britten, but he knows her very well. Has coached against her and calls her a friend outside of the off the court. And then we're going to bring in Ava Stevenson and Adriana Strisik, both of who I've covered when they played at Trinity. And Adriana has a special place in my heart. She was a 4-year student intern with Lingelstown Gazette Sports. So I'm going to read first. I'd like to read the email that Coach Britten sent to her players, to the student athletes who play for her and their parents. I want to read a couple different comments here, but I'll start with her comments to her players and parents. It is with indescribable sadness that I'm letting you know I will not be continuing with the Trinity girls basketball program next year. I have been informed by Mr. Kaminsky, he's the president at Trinity once again, that he is looking to take the program in a different direction. I have always been appreciative of the role that Trinity has played in my life over these past 40 years, and have been nothing less than loyal and dedicated to developing that same feeling in the young ladies that have come through the program. The program's mission has always been to impart these young ladies with skill sets and life lessons that will help them become strong, successful, faithful, and goal-driven young women. Basketball was the added bonus that afforded me the gateway to do that. So in 3 short paragraphs, that just said it all right there. You know, it's definitely more, it's about more than basketball, and has been for Coach Britten over the years. And that's clear to everybody that knows her. So Coach LaSonda Dixon made a comment. We had a post the other day about this. She's the Middletown head basketball coach, coached against Kristi Britten. She said, "I'm sad to see her go. I'm a fan of hers," said Coach Dixon. "When I first took my coaching job, she was one of the few coaches who had lunch with me and mentored me. She talked about how much she loved coaching and loved the girls she coached. I appreciate her for all of her wisdom. Even if we were rival schools, it didn't matter. She never had anything negative to say to me." And then the last one I'll read before I bring in Coach G. This comes from Coach Andrew Beckett, who coached under Coach Britten, I believe, for 3 seasons. "I have been fortunate to be part of the Trinity coaching staff for the past 3 seasons, serving as both a JV and varsity assistant coach. During this time, I have seen firsthand the passion that Coach Britten has for not only the girls' basketball program at Trinity, but the health and well-being of the school as a whole. There are coaches who have tenure at schools, and then there's Coach Britten, who has been an integral part of the Trinity's girls' basketball program since she was 14 or 15 years old. In addition to being a brilliant X's and O's coach, she is also a great teacher who instills in her players what it means to succeed in life and what success beyond basketball brings. Our program motto was live the faith, leave your legacy. And I can't imagine anyone who displayed that better on and off the court than Coach Britten." Thanks to Coach Andrew Beckett for sending us that. He wanted to be on the show. I mean, he feels very passionate about, what's going on here. I just didn't have room to bring another guest on. So Coach Andrew Britten, I really appreciate that. So let's bring in Coach Randy Gambalungi. Coach G, you've known Kristi for a good number of years, and you've coached against her, but mostly just knew her as a coaching peer. You guys got together every preseason for scrimmage, like a real scrimmage with PIAA refs. She was 4-1 against you, Coach. You know that? Just let's let the people at home know.
I believe it. Is this including?
Go ahead.
Didn't get Hershey though. We played against Hershey for.
You did? Okay. Well, then I don't know what happened there, but
I can't remember either.
Not many people have a winning record against Coach Randy Gambalungi, but Coach Britten was one of them. So, Coach G, just generically, I'm going to ask you. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Coach Britten. What you think of her as a coach and as a woman, a leader of young women, and how you felt when you first found out about this.
Yeah, well, I've gotten to know Kristi over pretty much the 18 years because I was the head coach at Hershey for 6 years, and Trinity was in the Keystone Division at the time. So we played each other twice a year and really got a good friendship going as just coaches. And then as years went on, when I went over to CD, they were in the Commonwealth for a long period of time, but then they left for the Keystone. But we were in summer league together. We scrimmaged at CD, like you said, each year. And we did Sunday nights. I don't know if you guys remember the Sunday nights at Trinity, just preseason open gyms playing against each other. So we have gotten to know each other, and always every summer league we stop and talk, and we had long conversations. And the one thing that just sticks out about Kristi is how much she loves Trinity and how much she loves the girls. And the time she spends, she's just like a mother to them, and being a great coach at the same time. You just can't beat that. As far as coaching on the sidelines, the one thing I always was amazed with was she always had an even demeanor. While us guy coaches are spazzing out on the sidelines, she never complained to the
You're right about that. Yeah. I always say to my friends, like, why isn't she upset? Or why isn't she saying something to the ref? Or,
she's always never berates the players, never berates the officials. Right. She just coaches the game, coaches the girls. And you can see that. And even when you see her coaching during the summer or during the fall, it's the same thing. She's just a consistent, great person. And some of the observations I've had is, first of all, if you look at her staff, she's had loyal staff members throughout the years. Now, obviously, people come and go through, job situations and things like that. But she has numerous people who volunteer for her program. And that says a lot because people want to be part of what she's building. And that's always been impressive to me. She's always had a huge roster as far as JV and varsity, because I don't think she wants to cut kids. She wants kids to be part of the Trinity program. I mean, sometimes at the scrimmage, the JV team had 15 kids, and she just wants that. She just wants them to have the experience, and it's that's hard to manage, but it's obvious because she loved the kids and she wanted them to be part of something bigger than what we all strive for, bigger than themselves, being part of a good program. She's Trinity through and through.
Yeah.
She played for Trinity. She coached Trinity. She's had kids who went through Trinity. She's taken pictures I see pictures on football games of, the other things she's done for just outside of the sport, track and field. She's been part of the whole community for, her life, basically.
Right.
And that's why I'm finding this decision so difficult to understand.
Yeah, I've called her Trinity to the bone,
Yes.
the whole way down to the bone. I mean, there's just so much about Trinity that she's loved and embraced for so many years. And like she said in her comment, and then she also was a coach. There were so many other things about Trinity and about her roles, her multiple roles there that she kind of put first, her faith, the girls that she coached, but then she also was a great X's and O coach,
Yes, no doubt about it. The amount of texts I received, and when people are hearing about this, and the comments online, 99% of the people cannot understand what just happened. I mean, it is one of the most baffling decisions. I mean, take away the wins, because you could read off all the accomplishments she's had.
Can I
Go ahead.
Quickly, I wanted to read the accomplishments. I'm going to get right back to where you are. I don't want to get too much into the show, because we have to assume that there are some viewers here, because there always are, that don't really know what she's accomplished, on the court. She played 4 seasons at Trinity under legendary coach Harry DeFrank. After 4 years playing and graduating from Bucknell, she played at Bucknell and graduated from there. She returned to Trinity as an assistant coach under Harry DeFrank for 10 seasons. Took over for Coach DeFrank after the 2006-2007 season, has been head coach for 18 seasons ever since. Overall record of 313 and 154, which included 9 Mid-Penn Conference division titles, 8 District 3 championships, 7 20-win seasons, 13 PIAA state tournament appearances, multiple Coach of the Year awards, which included the Pennsylvania Sports Writer 2021-2022 Class 3A statewide Coach of the Year. Not many people get that, right, Coach?
No.
So, if there's any question about whether she had a successful career in terms of, winning wins versus losses and winning titles and all that, that's over with. But I want to ask you this, Coach. Is it odd for a coach to be given no real explanation when they're dismissed?
And that's exactly where I was headed with this.
Okay, good.
Just when you, first of all, you have to know how much Kristi loves the program. And to hear this, the devastation that she's experienced is unfair. It's just flat out unfair. And it's very unfair to not know why you're being dismissed. She was told that they want to go in a different direction, but what direction? There's no better direction than having Kristi as the head coach at Trinity. She should dictate her own terms here.
Right.
And, it's just baffling to me. It's baffling to anybody that's texted me, anybody that I'm reading, almost anybody that I'm reading online, former players, former coaches, former parents, and former opponents. There's not, I wish we could do more to help her, because she needs to be there. But I will say I will personally not be scheduling any games with Trinity. And I hope other coaches out there consider this until she gets her job back, because, I don't want any part of this new leadership's decision as far as the girls basketball program.
Right. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, a lot of times there's that rivalry with McDevitt and Trinity, and she had beaten McDevitt 6 of the last 7, 8 of the last 10. So it wasn't like she wasn't able to beat McDevitt. And that would be a really poor reason for a person to lose a job. But I wanted to mention too, though, so she's dominated that rivalry. And the other, she hasn't won a state championship, but very, very few coaches have. Okay. And the only reason I mention that is because I see these comments. Well, she hasn't won a state championship. Maybe that's why. That is not why, right, Coach? There's not even
too much involved. There's a lot of luck in that too.
So hard to win. So I only brought that up to kind of put that to rest. Nobody loses their job because of not winning state championships. That's just not even no way it's part of the equation.
Well, before I get off, Joe, and I think that people want to hear from Ava and Adriana.
Absolutely.
I just want to say to Ava, you were such a great basketball player, one of the best shooters of a long line of great shooters at Trinity, and an underrated defender because anybody you guarded could not get a shot off with your long arms.
No way. 161 career 3-pointers made. That's incredible.
And I had the privilege of actually coaching Adriana, and I will tell you what, and also teaching her. And I will tell you what, there is no more coachable, harder working student athlete. I'm saying student and athlete than Adriana. Mm-hmm. She's just, one of the, just wants to do what's right and win. And it showed when every time she stepped on the court or in the classroom.
What a sweet girl, Adriana. Yes. And young lady now. I have to remember you're not a girl anymore, but she worked with me for 4 years at Ligglstown Gazette Sports. There was no better student intern that I've had in 8 years than her. Not even close. She was great. So, Coach Randy Gambalungi, thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
We really appreciate you joining us, and I'm sure the viewers.
We hope something changes here.
Have a good evening, Coach. Take care. Okay, ladies. Kind words from Coach Gambalungi. Let me drop him out of here. All right, I kicked them. They say kick from the studio. I kicked them from the studio. All right, so we're going to start with Adriana. Adriana, thank you for joining us, by the way. I think it would be Striker. Is it Striker to Coach Britten? Was that your nickname that she gave you?
Yeah.
Was that it? Do I have that right? Okay, all right.
Yeah, right.
It's a good nickname. Good sports nickname. You played for Coach Britten for 2 seasons.
I wasn't expecting it, but it just clung on,
Yeah. Well, she likes to give players nicknames, I think. Ava, did you have a nickname? Did she have a nickname for you? No? Okay. Because I remember Elena Beckett was Buckets, right? So I knew a few of the nicknames. All right. So, Adriana, you played for Coach Kristi for 2 seasons from 2020 through 2022. You transferred from, and Coach G just mentioned it, from Central Dauphin to Trinity. Were you familiar at all with Coach Britten prior to making the decision to transfer to Trinity?
I mean, I heard about her, and I played against Trinity when I was playing at CD and the scrimmages and stuff, but I really didn't know her in a personal level. I just knew who she was. So
you didn't have a chance to kind of be, blown away by her presence in your life until you got there and were able to meet her in person, and you didn't know what you were in for, basically, right?
No, I wasn't, but it was a really good impact, honestly.
I know it was because we were kind of hanging out together back then when you were my intern, and I remember how elated you were to be playing for her, and because I asked you how's things with Coach Britten and Coach Kristi, and you're like, I love it. She runs a great program, and so I just know that your 2 years there were a great experience for you. So talk a little bit about playing for Coach Kristi. What did that involve? What were her expectations? What were you able to kind of get out of that whole thing, other than winning lots of games and the experience of playing for Trinity basketball?
I think honestly, when I first came into the program, I was super nervous because I didn't know how she was. I didn't know how the players were, but she just accepted me. And so did the players. And it was just an awesome feeling to be a part of. And the expectations that she just wants you to work hard and just be one big group as a team, honestly. And it helps me in the future.
You're breaking up.
Involved with a team now that has that same mindset, and it's awesome. Oh, what
So
else
you're
can I say?
at
There's so much I could
Lebanon.
say about her, honestly, because she made such a huge.
That's what we're here for. If you have time. Okay, so we're getting a couple comments in here. Coach Mark Clark, does
Sorry, it's
everybody know
glitching.
Coach Mark Clark? He says, thank you for having this discussion. He's a big supporter of Coach Britten. And I believe, is he not there? I think he's one of her assistants right now, Coach Clark. So he was a very successful head coach at Camp Hill a few years back. Leanne Mahoney, is it Migash or Magash? Kristi coached my daughter 13 years ago, and it was truly a life-changing experience. Her influence was so significant that she was a cherished guest at my daughter's wedding last year. As my daughter shared, Kristi played a pivotal role in forming the person she has become. We are eternally thankful for the positive impact Kristi has had on her life. So thank you for the comments, folks. And we lost Adriana. And now I think we're going to get her back, but we're ready to move on to Ava anyway. Ava, thanks for your patience, Ava. Okay. I know that I didn't have to twist your arm to join us. You know, when I talked to you a few days ago, you were like, yeah, I'm in, and I know that Coach Kristi meant a lot to you and still does. So you were not, I had written down, were you given a nickname? You were not given a nickname.
No, it was always just Ava.
Okay. Good enough. I met you in 2000, I believe 17, during your freshman season. One of the first things that Linglestown Gazette Sports did was the interview with you, Tasia Colbert, help me out, Maddie LaFrance, and Kate Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
I mean, what a great 4 players. I mean, 4 of the best players around. You were all freshmen back then, so that was a big deal. And let me say this: we still have not, in 8 years, had a larger viewership for anything we've done than that interview. I think we had we had like close to 4,000 people watch that.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun to be able to meet you girls at such a young age and so early in your careers, and then to watch you all blossom as players and become as great as you all did. So where were you, Ava, when you were notified of this situation? And could the timing have been worse? Right before the school's Easter break, with a woman whose faith is so strong. Was this just something that you kind of felt like it can't be true?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's hard to even put into words what this week has felt like. Like, I had a bunch of people like blowing up my phone, and I was like, is this a prank? Like, I'm not understanding. And then I see it's on Penn Live, and I've like I said, a bunch of people texting me, and it was just, I was like, there's no way that this is true.
Yeah, somebody who I trust, when they tell me something, he sent me a text and I looked at it. I'm like, there's no way. It wasn't April 1st, so it couldn't have been a joke. And then I texted it to 2 people. I had a hard time. I texted it to Coach G, Randy Gambalungi, and then a friend of mine who's a member of the media. And I was hoping that I was wrong. I told them both. I said, I hope I'm wrong, but this is just what I heard. So yeah, it's kind of something that people are having a hard time, digesting, believing that it's true, even though we know that it is at this point. And before we go any further, talk about Coach Britten's faith. She wears her faith on her sleeve. We know how strong of faith she has in her God, and that she makes sure that everybody's aware that it's about faith, and it's about carrying that with you wherever you go, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at Trinity, we always talked about the highest good. And Coach Kristi always made it her mission or an effort to, just raise strong, successful, faithful, and just goal-driven young women. And that went along with her family as well. And she said that in her interview, like, basketball was just her tool to be able to express that. And she did it very, very well. I just think that taking on that load after Harry DeFrank must have been hard, but even then she made her own imprint on Trinity and the girls that she mentored, just generation after generation. And you can even see that with her family. Like, I'll just speak briefly about her family. Like, her family is a reflection of her heart. It's just a beautiful group of people just always showing up and supporting, whether that's in the stands or just showing up randomly to practices to say hello to the girls.
Mm-hmm. So they were all in. Everybody was in. Her whole family.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. Okay. And I just want to let the people know, like I kind of gave Kristi's bio, I'm going to give a little bit about your bio. Okay. Because you were a great player. You had over 1,000 career points, along with school records for points in a game with 37. I was there. I saw that game. Free throw percentage in the season, 88%. 3-pointers in a game, 6. Great 3-point shooter. And career 3-pointers, 161. That's 40 a season. That's incredible. And like Coach G said, and you were a great defensive player too. Did you like playing defense?
Yeah, I did.
Did you? Yeah. Most great defensive players actually enjoy playing defense. You know, you were always assigned to the opponent's best offensive player, and so your teams that won a lot of big games too. It's worth mentioning. What did you learn about the game of basketball from Coach Kristi?
I mean, she was there from the very beginning. So I first came in contact with her I was in the fourth grade, and
okay,
yeah, because she was my AAU coach for a few years. We went to nationals in Tennessee. Like it was honestly just a great experience. And
so your path was pretty much settled and set from that point on. You know,
I mean,
where you were
I
going.
went to Catholic school my whole life, so I was at Good Shepherd in Camp Hill, and I was always bleeding green. Like eventually, like I was always at the Trinity events. Like I also knew her daughter Gracie. I was friends with her, but she just had such a like beautiful impact on my game. Like she knew like what I could become, and it started with AAU, and I always knew that I was gonna be a diehard Trinity girl. Like I was gonna play for her. But I'm nothing but appreciative towards her.
And then the other part of it is, or the most important part of it is, how do you feel she helped you mature from an adolescent girl, or even a young girl we just mentioned, but an adolescent girl when you came in ninth grade, to the young woman that you are today?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was nothing but always excited to be around her and to play for her at different times in my life. So she was able to watch me grow. And she just stood by my side through like all of the hard times. So you know how it is when people graduate and go to college, but we always stayed in touch.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was battling some mental health issues or injuries in college, like she kind of helped with my transitions and decisions to, enter the transfer portal or just whatever the situation was. But like I said, she just simply cared about who I was becoming, and we're still in contact to this day. Like I still come back to the gym for open gyms, games. Eventually, I thought that I could even become an assistant coach by her side, because you see that Miranda had done that as well, because she played there, went to college, and ended up coming back. So it's definitely going to be a very, weird feeling. Like I don't know how I'll be able to step in the gym, and like it was my home and she was a part of that home. So I mean, I'll continue. She's still going to be a part of my life always.
Mm-hmm.
She changed, like her fingerprint is just on every player that's walked through that gym.
Absolutely. And one of my kind of fondest memories coaching sports. I've been covering sports as a media member. I got a call. I think it was from Coach Kristi, or maybe your mother, Ava. Would I come over to your signing day? And I said, certainly I will. And it was, right after school, 3:00 or 3:30, something like that. And I went over and I set up my tripod, and I just kind of had the tripod running and showing everything that was going on. And I looked to my left, and Coach Kristi was right there, like in the back row, just kind of letting it be your day and your time. And I noticed she just had a huge smile on her face, right? Just kind of like a closed mouth, just one of those. She was just so happy to see what was going on, and a little tear in her eye. And, I found out it was just kind of a warm, satisfying smile. And I had found out after that, that you had gone through a lot, outside of school and outside of basketball at school, some challenges that you really had to kind of, for lack of a better term, just kind of put on your big girl pants and muddle through and just trust people in your life that loved you. And right. That,
Sure.
just some things that a coach a lot of times doesn't have to deal with when it comes to coaching a student athlete. And she said that Kristi had said that was kind of one of the reasons that she was so happy to see that you were moving on to your next chapter in life, because of everything that you had to overcome and all the hard work and the fight that you had in you. So, there's really no point here except that I just saw how much she loved you that day, just from the look on her face. It put a smile on my face too,
Yeah.
So I want to read a couple more of these comments. Here's a person says, Kristi was, I'm not going to read this person's name because I don't know if it's really their name or not, but it is, let's see here. No, I'm not going to read this at all because it's somebody making an inappropriate. It's in support of Coach Kristi Britten, totally in support, but it's kind of inappropriate the way that they're putting it. So we don't know if Coach Kristi is going to join us tonight or not. She's been given an invitation, and she's a very humble person. So I don't know if she's not prepared or not willing or not ready to come on and join us. But so Adriana, I'm going to go back to you. As far as, her helping you prepare for life, the same question I just gave Ava. What was she like as a role model for you, the adolescent girl who was becoming a young lady while you were playing under her?
Well, hopefully the camera or my mic doesn't go out because that's what happened last time. So
It's
hopefully
good
I
now.
have a
It's
chance
good
to
now.
say what I need to say.
Oh,
Okay, good.
guess who we got? Guess who we?
Honestly, she helped me. Oh,
Go ahead. You want to finish up? We have a special guest here joining us. Adriana, you want to finish up? Are you having technical difficulties again? No, finish up, Adriana. Put your mic on it.
it's always difficult. Honestly, she has helped me become a leader. Honestly, she showed me what leadership truly was, and I wasn't able to have that until I came there, just because of I was young at CD and stuff. But it helped me become a captain for Wilson, and I was able to fully show what kind of leader I am because of her and because what she showed me when I was in high school.
Yeah, sometimes those traits, those skills, those leadership skills, they don't just happen. You have to kind of be sometimes nurtured or, coached or have a mentor that teaches you how to be a leader. And I know that you were good right out of the gate at Wilson as a freshman. You were leading the team in a couple categories, and they were very fortunate to have you. And now you're over at Lebanon Valley, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to we got Coach Kristi here. Coach Kristi Britten, how are you? All things considered. Okay. You might have to check your microphone, Coach Kristi.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
I think the only message I want to give you, or the first message at least, is that you're very, very loved, very, very respected. And I think you know that.
I might have to log out and log back in.
Okay, you're cutting in and out. She's going to call. She's going to get back in. So we certainly are going to wait for her to come in. That's for sure. You know what, Ava? I had one other question I wanted to ask you about. She sent you was it an email or a letter? Okay. Coach.
All right. How about now?
Much better.
Okay.
All right. So it was time for you to join us. I didn't know if you were for sure or not, but we really had an opportunity to kind of, to let people know, and there's so many people watching this right now, just how impactful you've been in so many young girls and young ladies' lives over the years, and that basketball was kind of a byproduct. Is that right, Coach?
Absolutely. It was the blessing that I had in my life to be able to ideally impact the young ladies in a positive way.
Let's kind of go back Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank Coach Gambalungi and Stryker and Ava
Striker.
coming on. And it's why I've done what I've done for the majority of my life is people like them. So I appreciate it.
I met Randy 10 years ago, and we became we're pretty good friends now. We weren't that close of friends back then because we were just getting to know each other. But I remember when he first talked about you, Coach Britten. He's like, that is one heck of a coach and one heck of a awesome woman and a great leader of her players. And so I've known for a long time that the quality of person you are. And I covered your teams for not to the same level or degree that like an Eric Epler for Penn Live. And we kind of do things differently at Linglestown Gazette Sports, but you always made yourself available to us, no matter how small we were. And I always had opportunities to see, like Coach G said, the way that you reacted and responded to, shortcomings. Let's say shortcomings when officials made bad calls, or you had to pull a player because she just was turning the ball over and taking bad shots. You never wore that. We never saw it on your face. How does a coach go about, having that presence and not really showing their emotion like you did?
Well, I think some of my players may negate that with some of some dings in the wood floor on the home side of Trinity. And I think my only technical in my career was over Ava getting punched in the mouth.
Oh, I think I was there for that too. I really do. I saw Ava play so many games over 4 years. Yeah, that's when you have to take one for your player, right, Coach?
Yeah.
So right before you came on, I was talking about, I kind of stood shoulder to shoulder with you for Ava's signing day. We were both kind of in the back row, and I had mentioned that it was Ava's day, and you were just kind of taking it all in. But I found out that, and you just had the biggest smile on your face and like a tear in your eye, but I found out that Ava had to kind of endure some things that had nothing to do with her studies or playing basketball, that she kind of had to just to deal with some things that no girl her age should have to deal with. And that had to be part of the reason that I've never seen anybody show so much, gratification that day, that Ava was like moving on to the next chapter of her life. Talk about that day and watching her sign her college intent. I guess it was her letter of intent, and what that meant to you as a coach.
Well, I tend to be, wear my emotions on my sleeve, and some of the greatest, most exciting accomplishments that we've had at Trinity, including championships and signings. They're like, it's a tears of joy, happiness. These girls work so hard as students and as athletes, and it's a grind. Basketball season can be long, and especially when you have a successful season. So when the end result is that they are happy and they're strong young women, I feel blessed to be a part of that.
And how about Stryker here? She came over 2 years into her high school career, and Adriana and I, we were kind of spending a little bit of time together because we were doing a lot. She was a great intern of mine at Linglestown Gazette Sports, but she said earlier that she really didn't know what to expect. She didn't know a whole lot about Coach Kristi, and so she had to kind of learn everything, and she was scared to transfer, scared of going around a new environment. And she said that you kind of made the ride a whole lot smoother once she got to know you a little bit, and the way that you led these girls. Talk a little bit about Adriana Stryker.
Yeah. When I first found out that Stryker was coming in, I actually called Randy because I didn't want him to think that there was anything that I, went outside the lines or did anything, crossing PIAA rules or ethics to have her come to us. I think it was an organic situation that she, for the right reasons, was coming to Trinity. And I was, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I hadn't met her. And I think, like you had said earlier, she was just hardcore worker, funny, different sense of humor that, made practices enjoyable. Sometimes, like, she just has that look that it didn't click right away, but then it clicked. And when it did, everybody was better for it.
And her skill set, she could do a little bit of everything. She could score, she could rebound, she could play defense. I mean, she's just I know one thing, Coach. Adriana is a very hardworking athlete.
Absolutely.
And I remember saying to Adriana, boy, you're fortunate. You're going to be playing for this woman by the name of Coach Kristi Britten, and, you're going to be in great hands. And I remember saying to you, Coach, the same thing. Boy, you're fortunate that you're getting this Adriana Strisek girl, because I thought a lot of her. I watched her play at Central Dauphin, and I knew her work ethic, and I knew her will to win. And so it's just nice when all that works out. And, you had mentioned that, you wanted to make sure that you weren't crossing any ethical lines or any. I remember when a player transferred from a neighboring school just a few years ago, and I'm just letting people know, I asked you about her, and I knew that she was transferring, and you were very sincere. You said, I know very little about her. I haven't really met her yet, and I'll meet her when she shows up at the school and enrolls, or she comes to her first practice. So I think Coach Britten used Coach Britten's players, is what I'm trying to say, that you attracted players like Ava. Ava knew when she was 8 years old in fourth grade that she wanted to wear green and white and a shamrock on because of the type of person you are, Kristi. So talk about just the opportunity to be able to touch girls' lives and for them to be able to touch your life for these past well over 18 years now. You're intimately connected to the school for 18 plus the 10 that you coached under Harry DeFrank plus the 4 that you played. What have the relationships meant to you?
It's really why I do it, honestly. The outreach that I've received in these past 4 or 5 days has been overwhelming in a really beautiful way. And it's, that's what means the most.
It really is. And I know that your faith is strong and your faith is deep. And, but that doesn't mean that you don't feel what's going on here. And I want to read just a couple more comments here. Mary Balaban, as a former CYO coach, Kristi always reached out to the feeder programs. Here, these comments are just coming in left and right. Kristi always reached out to the feeder programs for the Trinity summer camps, CYO Appreciation Day, and asking for at least one of our games to be played at Trinity. She made the program a family for past, current, and future players. Thank you, Mary Balaban. Colleen Dorsey, who's the mother of a player. Kristi, we all got your back. Can't thank you enough for all you did for Jocelyn and all the girls. Josh says her team for those 3 years was your favorite. So I don't know. We don't want to get into that. I'm sure you had a lot of favorite teams. Jalen Moore, love you, Coach. We all got your back. John Shue, this is a travesty. Longtime York Catholic girls basketball supporter. My daughter Mariah Shue played for York Catholic from 2021 to 2025. A lot of great battles between her and Coach Bankos. Coach Kristi was always, now this is an opposing parent here. Coach Kristi was always a class act, win or lose. Her kids carried themselves the right way all the time. They competed, they played hard, and did things the right way That's a testament to her, Coach Kristi. She always went out of her way to speak to my daughter and give her the highest praise, a true class act and great person. Christy Walker, is it Skozillis? Coach, you help mold us young ladies into confident, hardworking, faith-based women, teaching us basketball, but also teaching us life lessons. Thank you, Coach. So, I mean, if these comments will go on all night. And if I see other ones come up, I'm going to read them. But I want to say this. It's been 5 or 6 days since we've all known about this. What I'm reading here is what's going on all over the area, and not just with the Trinity people, with the people from the surrounding communities, a York Catholic parent who's a big rivalry at Trinity's, of course. So, I mean, I don't know how much it helps. I'm sure it does a little bit, but Coach Kristi, you are very, very loved by a lot of people. And I think you know that. I'm pretty sure you do. Sometimes the only thing that you can have at certain points in your life is love and support. And there's a lot of that going on. And this isn't easy for Ava or Adriana. I could tell. I see Ava's got tears in her eyes right now. So, I mean, kind of you're all in it together, right? Ava, do you feel that way?
Yeah, definitely. I texted Coach Kristi this, and I'll address it to you and the public again, but you will always be Trinity basketball, and you dedicated your life to us, and it's just very disheartening and confusing and painful to see them take out such a big part of its successful history without so much of an answer or even the respect to give you that. But nothing will ever be able to erase what you built, and we will always, always love you.
Yeah, I thank you, Ava. And I did mention, and I asked Coach G, Randy Gambalungi, is it odd for a coach to be given no real explanation for their dismissal? And he says, yeah, it's very odd. And Coach G's been around for a long, long time. And, I don't want to, we know what happened, that Coach Kristi was released by Trinity President John Kaminsky. But for him to provide no real reason other than we're going to take the program, we were hoping to take the program in another direction. We don't know, Coach Kristi, how there could be a better direction than the way that you've had this program for the last 18 years. So I guess it's probably too soon for you to know, what your next act in life will be. Is it too soon for that, Coach?
Yeah.
I figured so. And I guess you're going to wait for a message from God, which is kind of what I do in certain situations. There's a lot of uncertainty a lot of times in life, and this is an extreme example of uncertainty, of confusion, of no real answer. And so I want to thank you, Coach Kristi, for coming on. And I know that this is not easy. This is difficult for you. But is there any message that you have before we wrap up, Coach Kristi? I've been asking you questions, but did you want to say anything just yourself without me setting it up and just let anybody who's watching know, how you're feeling or how you want to respond to the way that they've been responding?
Yeah, I cannot get off of this podcast without thanking everybody. I have not, delved too much into the social media comments, but I appreciate everybody that has said some nice things and things that are deep, for years and years, of how, particularly when the young ladies become women, how they appreciate what I did, what I tried to do my very best. I guess I'm just so disappointed in the way that I was dismissed. which I don't feel was very reflective of the values that Trinity stands for. I poured so much of myself into supporting Trinity and everything that's in the mission statement and the highest good and living the faith. And I feel like there could have been a courtesy of a proper dismissal and a reason. I would appreciate some answers.
That's very fair. I mean, everybody probably wants answers when they're faced with these kind of situations in life. You know, that hey, we're going to just uproot everything that you've worked for 4 decades, and we're not going to tell you why. And it's just very unfair and very confusing. And so we have a legend here. One of the GOATs chiming in, Coach Kirk Smallwood. If anybody doesn't know Coach Smallwood, you should. He's I think 29-year head coach at Harrisburg High. Coach, if I got that wrong, I apologize. 9 district championships and 2 state championships at Harrisburg High. Just one of the legendary coaches, legendary men in this area. As a local fan, Coach Smallwood says, I'm appalled at the decision to release Kristi. And that's another one of Kristi's fraternity members, for coaching fraternity members, as is Coach Randy Gambalungi, who joined us earlier. Jack Straw says, I remember a young, scrappy point guard named Kristi Dunleavy, who was Kristi Britten knee, or used to be Dunleavy before you were married. She suffered a terrible ACL injury and fought her way back and ended her high school career in the PIAA state championship game. That I didn't know. So you were used to grinding from an early age, weren't you, Coach? That's I mean, you've had players, and you and I just talked about this very recently. You had multiple players that have had to, again, grind their way back from ACL injuries. But I didn't know you started that way, or you had to deal with that.
I did. Yeah. My junior year, very first game of the season, I tore my ACL.
Oh my. But then a state championship at the end, huh?
Well, I didn't tear it in that game. No, we made it.
No, when you got back out of it.
Right. We won as a freshman with Rita Balaban, who I think you read one of her comments. She was one of our floor leaders. And then we lost my senior year. Okay.
All right. And but you were able to be touched by the Coach Harry DeFrank, and I'm sure you wear a lot of what you learned and from him in your life today, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I played under him and was his assistant coach for 10 years. Hey, Joe, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I think I'm going to leave the studio if you don't mind.
No,
I apologize, but
it's our pleasure. I think the world of you, Coach, and I just appreciate who you are and what you've done, what you've accomplished, and I wish you well in your next chapter. That's all I want to say. We love you.
I appreciate it, Ava Stryker. Thank you. Love you, girls.
Okay. Take care, Coach.
You too.
Okay, so I'm going to read a couple more here. Boy, what courage that took. I know that wasn't easy, and I know it wasn't easy for you girls either. That's not how you want to see your coach. I mean, she'll be forever your coach. Let's just read a couple more because I like these comments. I want people to know, the viewers to know, that it's not just Ava and Adriana and myself and Coach Randy Gambalungi that feel this way. This is the entire community, and beyond this community here that feel this way. Angel Ward, Coach Kristi Dunleavy Britten, you deserve better. Your commitment to Trinity and your impact will be seen and felt for many years. David Roadcap, I'm a high school basketball fan. So here's a fan chiming in. Not anybody with a real close connection. I'm from Northern Dauphin County and traveled south multiple nights a week to watch Trinity boys and girls basketball. Coach was and will always be a class act. I can only imagine she will land on her feet and will coach at another school. She's one of the best girls coaches I have ever watched. and that's just something I wanted to say. We know Coach Britten's going to land on her feet. How that's going to happen, when that's going to happen, where it's going to take place at, we don't know that. And that's not for us to try to figure out. And maybe it's not for Coach Britten to try to figure out right now, I'll go back to this and we'll kind of end with this. It's just time for people to love her, for people to stand beside her, stand behind her, and be available to her. And the answers will come. Do you agree, Ava?
Yeah, for sure.
Just kind of part of living a spiritual life is to, just to let things happen as they will and just be around the right people and let them help you through it. So anything else, any last word? Ava, you've been phenomenal. I mean, boy, have you ever grown up since I first met you, but I mean, you're just so mature and you look great. And I know that you've had, great career, college career. You're going to play one more year, right?
Yep. I decided to take my 5th year.
And you're at Bloomsburg.
Yep. I transferred there 2 years ago.
Okay. You know what? There's one more thing I wanted to mention. You got a letter from Coach Kristi for your senior night, right?
I did.
Talk a little bit. I don't need it verbatim, but your mother told me it was just so touching.
Yeah. I mean, for our senior night, a bunch of the girls put a bunch of photos, letters from old coaches, family members, friends into a binder so that we would be able to have that once we left school. And Kristi wrote me this, this very long letter, very, very personal, stuff that doesn't obviously need to be shared with the public. But
absolutely not.
Yeah, but it was very emotional for me. Like I did cry when I read it, and I did talk to her about it after. And she means the absolute world to me. She's like another mother to me.
Mm-hmm.
So having her, like, we had no idea that was happening. But just having her take the time to write me a letter for my senior night throughout all these years, it really just meant a lot to me.
We have over 1,300 people watching this. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I've been doing this for 8 years, and I've never had a live podcast that had that many people at one time. Adriana, we're going to give you one more chance. If you want to just send out just a brief message to, I know Coach Kristi was here. Now she dropped off, but what's your message to Coach Kristi here as she muddles through these tough times?
Honestly, whatever decision she makes, whether she goes somewhere else or doesn't, I'm going to support her. Like Ava said, she means the absolute world to me. She's done so much for me in the past 2 years that I was there playing with her.
Well, I'm glad that you had that opportunity. I missed you when you left Central. I'm Central Dolphins public address announcer, just to be clear. So I was going to have a chance to announce Adriana, and I was looking forward to it.
Honestly,
yeah,
I was trying to make it short and sweet.
I was totally looking forward to that opportunity, but when I heard you were leaving to go to Trinity, I was like, that's a great place, and what a great fit. So Ava Stevenson, Adriana Strisik, thank you both so much. It's great to see you both. I want to thank Coach Randy Gambalungi, Coach G from Central Dolphin, for joining us earlier, and everybody that chimed in with your comments. I'm sorry I didn't get to read them all. There's just too many. I'd be sitting here all night long reading these comments, but what great, kind words for Coach Kristi Britten. And we're all here to support you, Coach. Just stay around people that love you. Stay around people that want the best for you. And, keep your faith. And I know you will. And you're going to land upright. I know that. I know whatever is in your next chapter is going to be great. And just keep rolling and just keep being Coach Kristi Britten. That's the best thing you could do. So thank you, ladies. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you sometime very soon.
Thank you, Joe.
Take care. We appreciate it.
Thank you.